Hey guys, hold the stove. It is the month of Tammuz. This is when the summer really gets kicking. 2 days from now, or 3 days from now actually, we're gonna have Gimel Tammuz, the Yahrtzeit of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. But before we get to that, we have the Yahrtzeit tonight of another great Lubavitcher who was a chassid of the Rebbe, a soldier of the Rebbe. Tried to emulate the Rebbe as much as he could. None other than Dr. Zelenko, a blessed memory. Zev ben Aharon, may his neshama have an aliyah. You know, my friends, I was thinking today, well, based on something that Frank said a while back, shortly after his brother passed away, my friend Frank Zelenko, Dr. Zelenko's brother. He said to me, he goes, I feel like my brother, he's with us. Not to be cute, he literally felt like he's with us. He's alive, and he got on the spaceship and went to like a different galaxy, a different dimension in a spaceship. You know, it's funny. Today, I was thinking about, if you guys remember the movie Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey, and there's that scene where McConaughey is sitting, I guess in the spaceship, and he's so far away from Earth, like light years away from Earth, so basically where he is, time moves much slower than time on Earth. How do we know that? Because in the movie they show him like sitting there crying. Why? He's looking at transmissions of videos and photos of his daughter, his wife, and they've all aged. His daughter, when he left Earth, his daughter was like 5, and then 45 minutes later, his daughter is like 20. Right? And married and whatever, and he's crying. So maybe think of, it's interesting, the resurrection of the dead. We're told by our sages that the people, our loved ones who passed away, when they resurrect, they're gonna resurrect as at the age that they were when they passed away. Meaning, right now, sorry, both my grandfathers. One of my grandfathers passed away, he was 59 years old, and the other one passed away, he was 77. And so, when that happened, one of them was, I wasn't even born yet, named after him, and then the other one, I was like 8 years old when he passed away, right? So, and let's say, I don't know, God willing, they resurrect tomorrow, right? So they will resurrect as the 59-year-old and 77-year-old version, and I'm going to be 44. So one of my grandfathers is going to be only 14 years or 15 years older than me. And the other one will be 33 years older than me, right? It's interesting. So me in this dimension will have aged, and they, from the time that they passed away, they did not age. So, yeah, it just made me think of that. So, which kind of like makes sense. Goes back to what Frank said about, his brother being in a different dimension, being alive, but being in a different dimension where time doesn't move in the same way that it moves here. And it's interesting because, any person you've ever heard, if you guys have ever heard, anybody that's had a near-death experience, right? I remember hearing the story of Rabbi Alona Nava. He said that when he was up in that realm, in that place, he said, thousands of years felt like a minute. Like the thousands of years are passing by, but it feels like a minute or two, right? So how do you know 1,000 years went by? It feels like a minute, right? So that the understanding of time is different in that dimension, which means that time really is not according to time per se, but or at least in our world, it's according to what's called the, the centrifugal forces, right? Which is like and all of our, the planets and all our, the light, the sun, how everything revolves around, with the sun and the earth and all that stuff, guys. That's how we've figured out how to measure time here in this dimension, here in this realm. But time in the other realm is completely different, right? Yeah, guys, so, I don't know, just thinking about that. I don't even know where I'm going with it. But, I just thought that it checks out the whole thing of, I guess the resurrection of the dead idea checks out. Why? Simply because of the idea of there's dimensions, that we know that there are different dimensions, that we know that there is different time measurements in these different dimensions from physics, really. So it stands to reason. It does make sense. Like, these movies are not, the movies that are made about these things, Interstellar and other movies like that, they're not based on nothing, right? They're based on something. And it's just a matter of, like, if you're looking at it from the Torah perspective, just connecting these concepts to, what they call eschatological beliefs. Like, I mean, it's really not an eschatological belief. It's really the underpinning of all of Judaism. If you don't believe, I hate to say this, guys, if you don't believe in resurrection of the dead, Tios Amesim, then you're basically a koifer, as we say. Kfira, you're engaging in kfira, right? That's the underpinning of, it's a lot, it's the most difficult of the, principles of faith, but it's an important component. Believing that the dead will rise, literally, right? That our loved ones will come back. So, with that said, guys, may the neshama of Zev and Aaron have an aliyah, Dr. Zelenko. And honestly, I told Frank today, I think his brother has been instructed not to intervene in the affairs of man down here, meaning that he's watching us down here, and he's also probably noticing that, justice has not been served cold. The dish has not been served cold just yet. And I think it will be, but, it's going to take some time, because the Satan is fighting very, very hard, as you can see. Doesn't matter if it's Shmov, doesn't matter if it's this whole Iran situation, which we were talking about, how the Iranian people have to be the ones to do the regime change themselves, but, they could have gotten help from the outside in terms of just the weakening of the regime itself, right? So that they can, have the guts to. It's not so simple, right? So these things are going very, very slow. We can see that the Sitrachar is fighting them, all of them. And again, to quote Dr. Zelenko, we are going to win. The question is going to be what's the body count. So, Zat Hashem, there won't be any more body counts, any more bodies to count, and we should win tomorrow. We should win tonight. Amen v'amen.